What is going on, everybody? This is another installment of Wrestle Talk with the Franchise. And as you know, I am yours truly, the Franchise, better known as the Podcast Tribal Chief. Today, we have Bad Blood to go over. That is this upcoming Saturday. We also have the debut of NXT on the CW. I haven't really talked about NXT a lot, but I do watch it, so I am going to discuss some of the things that are happening over there in the black and gold, or I don't know what their colors are, but in NXT. We have a new Intercontinental Champion, which I'm very surprised of, but there is rumbles of things happening within the WWE universe with one, Bron Breakker, and we are going to touch a little bit on AEW. Grand Slam was this past Wednesday. We'll talk about that. But first things first, congratulations goes out to main event Jey Uso on capturing the Intercontinental title this past Monday on Raw, defeating Bron Breakker. Definitely was a surprise for me. I'm not going to hold you. I did think that Bron Breakker was going to retain. But this is long overdue. We all know, long overdue. We all know Jey Uso deserved to have a title. I always think back to Roman Reigns' A&E biography. And I think back to how he spoke highly on Jey Uso. Obviously, he's going to speak highly on the twins, Jimmy and Jay, but there's always something about Jey Uso. And to see him extend in the business, them splitting up the Usos, them turning around and making Jey Uso the face, one of the faces of the WWE, is what we want to see. And guess what? Rikishi now can shut the hell up with all his takes about they're not trying to give the Yeet Man what they want, because look at what they just did. We sit here, we complain, not all of us, but certain wrestling fans, they complain. They're like, oh my God, he's not getting a break, or this person's not. And it just, be patient. Be patient. We were patient with Cody, and look what happened. Cody dethroned Roman Reigns and is now the WWE Undisputed Champion. He didn't do it the first time. He did it the second time. He had to go through hard times to get to where he is now. Jey Uso had to overcome so much to get to where he's at right now. And it really makes me think about where exactly they're going to go with Survivor Series War Games, because everybody is under the impression, me too, that we're going to have a Civil War bloodline. War Games. That's what everybody is thinking. That is the intent. That is what we all want to see. But I don't think we're going to get that. I don't. Because how are you going to incorporate Jey Uso now into this, with Jey Uso being Intercontinental Champion? Where's Jimmy Uso? You know, I talked about it last week. You know, Rikishi came out, said what he said, has not to this day said anything in regards to that tweet. And people, like I said, are speculating. I'm not going to say what they're speculating. Go on YouTube. You can find it. It's there. But a lot of people are confused. They're not sure. Where is Jimmy? Are we actually going to get this, or are we going to get Roman, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, maybe Jey and Sammy? I don't really know, because it's so confusing to see where they're going to go right now. But it makes me interested, and it should make all of us as wrestling fans very interested in what is going to happen next. We should all literally be sitting here just every week expecting the unexpected. Because like I said, I didn't expect Jey Uso to win the Intercontinental title. I just didn't. I didn't. I thought it was going to be another crash out. He was going to, not win. It was going to be a hard fought match, but he wasn't going to get the one up. Now, there is talks, even though as a person that has addressed this before, and I will continue to address it, I feel like the days of the clear-cut babyface and the clear-cut heels are kind of dwindling away. But I feel, though, as if talks amongst the universe is Bron Breakker may change. We could tell Bron Breakker's a fan favorite. The fans love him. The fans do the barking, when he says the dogs are here in wherever city that they're in, and people will do the barking. This is what I admire the most about the WWE, or the most about wrestling. I'm not just going to say the WWE, because AEW does it too. And I will give AEW their credit for this, because the AEW allows the fans to kind of dictate who is the heel, or who they cheer for, who they boo for. And the prime example is Swerve. Swerve originally we all know Swerve was a heel at heart. We all know about what he did with Hangman. And then he turns around and the fans start to love him, and he became a favorite. Now, I feel it's more so because of Prince Nana and the dance, that the dance won him over, and the dance kind of made him become a quote-unquote babyface. But we see that with them. Now we're seeing it in the WWE, but the WWE is kind of like, this is our guy. We rock with Bron Breakker. Roman Reigns was a heel, but he ended up being a fan favorite because the minute his music hit, everyone's standing up, putting their ones in the air. And then when he does the, I'm going to say Buffalo, because he will be here on SmackDown November 8th. Now, because it's confirmed, I'm more than likely probably going to go. But because tickets are still, they're still available. I'm seeing that if he comes out, he goes, Buffalo, New York, acknowledge me, and the crowd acknowledges him. It's a cheer. Even when he was a heel before he lost the title, he was still getting those cheers, except for when it came to him and Cody, and we all know how that went. But it's going to be interesting to see. I think the reason why they're creating Bron Breakker as this face is because who is going to challenge Gunther? That is the question. We all know Sami Zayn is in the hunt to challenge Gunther. But then after Sami Zayn, who would it be? Will it be CM Punk? Possibly. But after that, who else? Who else could it be? And that's why I think they made Bron be this, is turning him to this. It will be interesting to see what happens Monday tonight, because this will be the first Monday that Bron Breakker is not Intercontinental Champion. So it will be interesting to see. I think that we may have Bron versus Jey continue for a little bit, just to see where this goes. Now, speaking of the whole heel babyface thing, I have not talked about this. I don't think I've talked about this since Odyssey Jones joined the New Day, but then he got terminated. So it's just, they switched things over. Let's talk about the New Day real quick. Let's talk about what we've been seeing amongst the New Day for some time now, for some months. Karrion Kross started it with planting seeds in both the heads of Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, more so Xavier than Kofi. And the betting odds, or what we were assuming, was Kofi was going to turn with Odyssey Jones on Xavier Woods. Now we are seeing that Xavier Woods is kind of taking this aggressive approach. He is very much like, I can't stand what I'm seeing. I can't stand what is happening to us as the New Day. He has a match tonight against Rey Mysterio Jr. Are we going to see at the 10-year anniversary of the New Day, are we going to see after or during that 10-year anniversary celebration? Because you know they're going to do it. You know they're going to have a celebration. And you know who's going to be there. Big E will be present for the 10-year anniversary of the New Day. Can I see a situation where Kofi Kingston gets turned on by Xavier Woods while Big E is present? I can see this. I think Xavier Woods as a heel, as a heel, would be great. Not really Kofi Kingston, but more so Xavier. Because Xavier just has that attitude. He has that image that you could just tell, like, he can do it to the core. Kofi, not much so. You know, I can't really take Kofi as a heel serious. You know, I just can't. But I think that we will see, I think they want to hit the 10-year mark. And then after that, all good things must come to an end. I do believe Big E did have something to say about it. I seen it circulating, but I did not look into it. But that's another storyline that I think is another form of the long-term booking. They're booking this out. They're not dragging it. They're building it up. You're seeing the tension. You're seeing how even on Monday when Kofi brought back some of the New Day stuff, like he brought the big Budio ring that he had around his arm. He had Francesca. He had the Budio cereal. One of the guys was about to bring pancakes out. He told the guy, no, I'd like to go. And Xavier was like, no, like, I don't want to revisit that. It doesn't feel the same because E's not here. And what they may play on, even though Odyssey Jones is gone, he can play on that and say, you tried to replace Big E. You tried to do a lot of stuff without consoling me, and we're supposed to be brothers, we're supposed to be a team, and you're doing stuff behind my back. I can see Xavier Woods coming from that position. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. I am thinking that we are going to see Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston rivalry unfold. And then from there, I don't really know where we go. I do not know where do we go from here. Speaking of turns, I go back to when I was talking about when I like not knowing what's going to happen, right? Every week I'm watching and I'm just like, oh, I didn't expect for this to happen. I didn't expect for that to happen. This whole Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens situation is very interesting. It's very interesting because when I look at the landscape of this story, I still think it's going to pay off with Randy Orton turning on Cody. And I think because of the way it's being built, you're not going to expect to see that. All fingers and signs point to Kevin Owens. So when Randy Orton actually is the one to do it, it's just going to make the story even better. You know, we seen on SmackDown, Randy Orton came out, Randy Orton said, Cody, I need answers. I need to know why. And he gave his reason. Was it a valid reason? Some may say it's valid. He said, you know, Roman Reigns never went back on his word to me. To some degree. Not word for word he said that, but he said he gave me his word. And then Kevin Owens comes out and Kevin Owens says, you know, he was about to say something. And then obviously we seen the bloodline come out, the rogue bloodline. And Solo's doing what he's doing, which is very similar to what Cody did with the bloodline, where he just planted seeds in the bloodline and just watched it spread. He did say to Roman, and I said it during the review that I did for the segment at Georgia Tech, where he did tell Roman, you are going to be a chief with no tribe. Jay's going to leave. Well, Jay already left. Jimmy's going to leave. Solo, you're not ready, but, you know, Paul Heyman's going to leave. And, you know, Roman said, I'm a man without a country. As I said before, I wish he would have said island because it made more sense for him to say island, but I digress. So they decided to have a tag team match. Cody said, hey, there's three of us. And Kevin Owens said, no, you already have your match. So you could tell Kevin Owens and Michael Cole said this, and it's true. Kevin Owens, out of the three of them, Kevin Owens has feuded with the bloodline the most, I think, out of everyone in the WWE. So he has a lot, and some may say he has more to be upset with Cody than Randy does. But as I said, Randy can literally say, that bloodline, Roman Reigns took 18 months out of my career. I possibly would not have been able to return because of what the bloodline did to me. And that's where we get that heel turn. But you're creating the sense of now Randy is the one who's trying to mediate between Kevin Owens and Cody. And you could tell that Kevin Owens at points, like on the concluding on Friday, he got into his face. He was nose to nose with Cody. And they were like looking like they were about to go to blows. And Randy had to push Kevin and say, what is wrong with you? And that's why I swear when Randy does it, it's just it's like chef's kiss to when he does it, because the intensity, the anger, all that is going to pour out of Randy Orton, because Randy Orton, and it's not going to be the turn of, oh my God, boo Randy Orton. It's going to be the turn that's going to be like, we understand why you did this. I think it was Corey Graves, either Corey Graves or Michael Cole, one of them said it, where they said, we understand Kevin Owens' frustration. We understand why Kevin Owens is looking, it might have been Cole, feeling the way he feels, because he's been feuding with this bloodline. He's been feuding with Roman Reigns and the bloodline for years. And now Cody Rhodes just openly says, yes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this tag team. I said it last week. He started that when Nick Aldis came out and said Solo Sikoa issued a tag team match with Solo and Jacob versus Cody and Roman. Cody came out and told Nick Aldis, I'm done with the bloodline. I'm done with it. Count me out. And over the course of time, he said that at the top, about the end of the top of the hour of the first hour of SmackDown, at the conclusion of SmackDown, he signed the contract. He is a part of this tag team. And not one person has asked, and maybe we will get it during, because you know how they like to do it during the pre-show. They do these exclusive interviews before the show happens, and they play it during the countdown. Are we going to get something like that? Are we going to get a Michael Cole sitting down with Cody Rhodes and asking Cody Rhodes, why did you decide to team up with Roman Reigns? You said you were done with the bloodline. Why are you teaming up with him now? Can we get the answer then? Because a lot of people want to know. But I'm very, very intrigued to see what happens with this. And speaking of Bloodline, like I said, is this Saturday. We have a total of, as I'm looking at my slight list of minor notes I made before the recording. We have 5 matches. I had to make sure. We have 5 matches for Bloodline. The one match that was added to it was the WWE Women's Championship is on the line, with Nia Jax defending her title against Bayley after Bayley defeated Naomi to determine the number 1 contender. I said it before. I will say it again. I feel though as if Tiffany Stratton is about to get a potential babyface turn. You can just tell. I noticed that when Nia had, made a threat to her, the way she looked. Now, it could be a situation where Tiffany just decides, I'm going to cash in on you, or make it a triple threat and then pin Bayley and become the women's world, or not women's world, but become the women's champion. There's also talks of her possibly going to Raw and maybe cashing in there, obviously, because She is in a relationship with Luke Kaiser, so a lot of people are thinking because of that, that might be why, because the WWE likes to keep their couples on the same brand. You know, obviously Jimmy is on SmackDown with Naomi. Ricochet, before he departed to AEW, was Samantha Irvin. Gargano, Candice LeRae, the Viking Raider, and Valhalla, you know, they were together. Obviously Bianca and Montez. So you see that they're always trying to make sure that the couples stay on the same brand. Even I didn't even know that Damian Priest and Katana Chance? Yeah, Priest and Katana Chance are even an item, which I didn't know about. But that's not here nor there. But that match was added to Bad Blood. So we have We have Nia Jax versus Bayley for the women's championship. We have the women's world championship, Liv Morgan going against Rhea Ripley with Dirty Dom in a shark cage, ascended high above the ring. I said it before, I'll say it again. I feel like Liv is going to win with some assistance, and it makes sense that Raquel Rodriguez returns and possibly screws over Rhea Ripley. Damian Priest versus Finn Balor. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go with Finn. I think Finn may win this one. I think they'll have another match and Priest will get the upper hand on him then. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns versus Solo and Jacob Fatu. If I was because it's that age-old question, and this one fits perfectly. Can Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns coexist against a team that is well established, that is well off? They have done tag teams together in Solo and Jacob Fatu. This is Roman Reigns' first official match back in the WWE since returning at SummerSlam. I'm going to go with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. I am. I'm going to go with those two to win. Somehow, some way, maybe Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa interfere, which then brings out Randy Orton to help out Cody. And then Kevin Owens is like, what the hell are you doing? You know, but he comes out because Randy's out there with him. And we may possibly see those four together. Randy, Kevin Owens, Cody, and Roman Reigns in the same spot. And then we have, as you see, I am donning his shirt, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre inside Hell in a Cell. Now, there's been a lot of questions in regards to what is going to main event this Premium Live. I will say the Hell in a Cell has to main event. You are paying homage 27 years to the day. The first Hell in a Cell, why not have that main event? I understand it's Roman Reigns. I understand that story is a story in itself. But this is the definition of bad blood. And you don't want to open the show with this. You want to close the show with this. So I think we're going to have that as the main event. And I'm not just saying it because I have his shirt on. I've thought about it. I have CM Punk winning. I do. I know last week I said, what, like, it's one of those matches that you don't know what's the aftermath? Like, what is going to happen post this match? Are we going to see, if Drew McIntyre wins, what happens to CM Punk? If CM Punk wins, what happens to Drew McIntyre? I think if Drew McIntyre loses, Drew McIntyre will be off TV for some time. I do. I think he will take some time off. I think they will give it to him because of the brutality of the match. That's what I think. I really think that he's not going to be around for some time after this. We may see him reemerge at the Royal Rumble because after this we have Crown Jewel and then we have Survivor Series and then we have Saturday night main event. So those are the next 3 big events that's happening, but 2 of them are premium lives. So that's what I have for my bad blood take for this. Now let's talk about NXT. It's been a while since I've ever really mentioned NXT, but NXT is doing this thing. They have been on fire. Okay, I know I don't talk about it as much because there's so much to talk about within the main roster of the WWE on Raw and SmackDown that NXT kind of unfortunately gets put to the side. But just because I don't speak about it does not mean that I do not know what's going on and do not acknowledge the greatness that is happening in NXT. They are moving to the CW this Tuesday in Chicago. It's going to be a big one. I do also think that is Dynamite going to be on that day? I think it might be because MLB, I think, is happening, or the following Tuesday. One of the Tuesdays, they're competing with AEW. But few matches that was announced, obviously, for this NXT. We have Wesley going up against Zach Wentz in a street fight. We all know the Rascals. These rivals I love. I love the rivals with friends that have become bitter enemies. Triple H, Shawn Michaels, hands down the greatest frenemy rivalry we've ever seen. Kevin Owens and Tommaso Ciampa. No, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and then Gargano and Ciampa. Like, when you have friends who are really legit friends break apart and they now start this rivalry, it's always good. Ciampa and Gargano, I think, is the best one because of just that story that was built. Even in the midst of having other people involved, it always went back to Ciampa and Gargano. Adam Cole was involved in it. Aleister Black was involved in it. But it always came back to Gargano and Ciampa. But this is going to be a great match. I know at No Mercy they had an incredible banger of a match. This is going to be nonetheless a street fight. Who knows what to expect? I know it got personal. Wesley brought up Gigi Dolan, who is Zach Wentz's fiance, and yeah, it wasn't good. We also have The Miz hosting a special edition of Miz TV with Tony D'Angelo and the best wrestler on NXT right now, Oba Femi. Oh, listen, I've said it before, and I will continue to say it. Oba Femi is main roster ready. That man is a star in the fucking making. And I've been seeing a lot of bullshit recently after the Swerve Strickland interview and how everybody is now creating this narrative that Triple H doesn't book black stars and look at what he's doing. I think they even said that that Bad Blood is the first premium live that doesn't have a black person booked. They went as far as to say the last time the black person was booked to win was Bobby Lashley against Austin Theory or Grayson Waller and all this. I'm sitting there looking at this like, dude, y'all, this is the thing that I'm speaking on behalf of. I'm not speaking on behalf of, because obviously it's like, oh, clearly I'm a person of color, but for people to really sit there and say the stuff that they're saying, it's like, it's nuts. It's nuts to think this, you know, but everybody wants to create this. They want to they wanted to do all this. I'm not going to dive into, because I did not watch the Swerve Strickland Breakfast Club interview. I did watch Sasha Mercedes Moné, and I said it. If you follow us on Instagram, RCW_podcast, I did a story and I denounced her. I said, I'm done with Mercedes Moné. Whatever. That's how I feel about Mercedes. But Obafemi, man, he is amazing. He is an amazing talent. But we have that going on. We have two out of the three favorite females in NXT. Lola Vice and Jada Parker are teaming up to go against two members of Fatal Influence. And then we have the prodigy herself, arguably the second best, but I would say the best woman on the NXT roster. I have never seen Julia wrestle, so I cannot. I've seen her obviously wrestle Chelsea Green, but as far as her pre-NXT, I'd never heard of her, just like I really never heard of Stephanie Valkyrie. I think that's her last name. Who was in AEW, and then we all know the whole debacle with that, and then she's on WWE right now. We have Roxanne Perez defending her NXT Women's title against Julia, which I did think, I'm not gonna lie, I did think CM Punk was going to be the referee for that match, but he is not. He's actually going to be the referee for Ethan Page and Trick Williams. Yeah, NXT is just clicking, and it's their debut on CW. So we are expecting to see a lot of surprises. I do know that Stephanie did say that whoever comes out of that NXT Women's Championship match, she got next. So I'm very curious to see what happens with that. Obviously, the Lola Vice Jada Parker, that is another one of those. Can they coexist together? I can see them pairing them up, and then eventually, I can't even say they'll get the tag team titles, because the NXT women's tag team titles is non-existent because they merged them with the women's NXT the WWE women's tag team championship. So could we see a situation where Bianca and them show up and they do something? Not sure. But looking forward to NXT moving to the CW. It is a big move for them. Shawn Michaels has been doing a phenomenal job with the talent that he has on NXT. It's great to see wrestlers from the main roster appearing on a regular now there, because it makes you feel like there's more to it than what we're seeing right now. And it gives the NXT roster that rub that they need. So I'm very happy to see that for these guys. Before I wrap up, let's dive into a little bit of AEW talk. I was surprised with Grand Slam. I will admit that. And I say I was surprised because I did not expect for Moxley to win. I did think that Darby was going to win. Like I said last week, I thought Darby was going to win and Darby would be the one to dethrone Bryan Danielson at Wrestle Dream in Tacoma, Washington. I believe that's where they're going to be. I believe they're going to be in Washington. I don't know exactly what part of Washington, but they are going to be in Washington. So I was definitely surprised with that because the way it painted its picture, I thought we were going to see that as, I heard, and we've all heard, Bryan Danielson said that he wanted to have his final match against him there. I still have this gut-wrenching feeling, regardless of the situation, that Christian Cage is going to end up being the AEW World Champion. And by the middle of next year, Adam Copeland and Christian Cage will be competing for the AEW World title. I wish this doesn't happen, but I can see something like that happening. What else happened with AEW? I'm sorry. No, the Young Bucks. Young Bucks retained their tag team titles and continue to hold the tag team titles hostage, because why are they the tag team champions? I have not the slightest clue. But the big talk out of Grand Slam was the debut of MVP. Now, there is rumbles. Obviously, we see MVP there. That only means that Bobby Lashley will be going to AEW soon. They are teasing the idea of having MVP manage Swerve because, as he told Prince Nana, you're the reason he's no longer AEW champion. His house burnt down. Like, if I was managing him, things would be held differently. Gave him his card. I could see something happening. I do know that AEW did trademark the Hurt Syndicate. So we'll have to wait and see. And he did tease that, Swerve was the most dangerous man in AEW. But we know when Bobby Lashley shows up, they're going to deem that Bobby Lashley is the most dangerous man in AEW. So we'll see what happens there. And obviously, everyone has been talking about this photo right here, which is Shane McMahon with the Young Bucks. And it continues to create the narrative that Shane McMahon will be all elite. Now, I do have some feelings about this. I do remember Tony Khan had the surprise photo with him and Shane McMahon, and it caused a lot of people to speculate and wonder what exactly is happening. And I think Shane McMahon is going to be a part of AEW. I think he's going to be a part of it to a creative standpoint and as a character. I just don't want to see Shane McMahon in the ring. And I just thought about this. I do not want to see a match between Shane McMahon and fucking Tony Khan. Because I can see somewhere down the road, if you have this takeover, Tony Khan will then have to become a character in story and have to turn around and face Shane McMahon. Please don't let that happen. There's two things that I would scorch earth this show for. If Adam Copeland and Christian is competing for the AEW World title when you are supposed to be booking for the younger people, like building your younger stars, but yet you have Adam Copeland and Christian, even though they are the best friends and all what you want to say, they're competing for the title. I will go off about that, and I will go off if we have Tony Khan versus fucking Shane McMahon. Absolutely fucking not. Absolutely fucking not. Not really going to dive into the Lucha Brothers, Ray Phoenix and Pentagon. I'm not going to talk about that because I have my thoughts. I would just say this and I will leave it at that. Someone said, and I agree, that Tony Khan is becoming more and more like Vince McMahon day to day, week by week, month to month. And I agree because of the practices that he is doing and everything else in between. If you don't know what I'm talking about, stay tuned because on the next installment of this here Wrestle Talk, I will be giving my reaction and review to the Mr. McMahon documentary. If you like this video, you already know what to do. Leave that like, hit that like button, leave a comment in the section. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Let me know what your thoughts on is for Bad Blood. You already know next week we will have the Bad Blood recap show and everything that's going to happen unfolding after the aftermath of Bad Blood. And NXT, I'll be probably talking about NXT too. But that is it for this episode. Obviously, like I said, I am going to now dive into the Mr. McMahon docuseries. I am out. Later.